Happy Monday, February 2nd, 2026. We've got some really cool stuff to talk about today in comic book news. Are we finally, after all these years, getting a definitive origin for the Joker? We've got a new Iron Man #1 coming out with a really great creative team that I'm super excited for. We take a look at some of the craziest fights that we've had so far in DCKO. All that and more. Let's just jump right into it. Okay, so it looks like Batman #7 by Matt Fraction is going to include a gatefold fold-out page with the origin of the Joker. Now, apparently at this point, this is like post-KO, and he's in this, I guess, recovery or stasis tube. He's like suspended in the liquid, and you can see that right here on the cover. We also have some variant covers down here for Batman #7. As you can see in all of these, he's suspended in this like fluid. The article here goes on to say that this issue features a special gatefold page that folds out of the comic that will detail the definitive history of the Joker. Forget three Jokers, forget the Killing Joke. This is a chance for Matt Fraction and Jimenez to lay it out for good. And from his perspective as well, that's the perspective of the Joker. Or at least until the next time they change it, of course, right? And this is also the beginning to the Batman storyline, Blood and Money. First of all, this cover looks pretty crazy, and so do these, variant covers here. But I quickly want to talk about the origin of the Joker. It has always been kind of not definitive in a way, right? The Joker is an enigma. And I think that's part of what makes the character so compelling. I have the Absolute Killing Joke right here. This is the Absolute. And of course, it has this amazing Brian Bolland art from the issue on the back as well. By the way, this is one of my favorite Absolutes in my collection. Thank you to my wife. And remember, in the Killing Joke, we get an origin for the Joker where he basically dons this red hood, as you can see in this image right here. And then because he's getting involved with these like gangsters and these criminals, and they're kind of tricking him, right, into wearing this red hood and committing this crime. And of course, this is where the origin of the whole idea of the red hood comes from. And then he falls in the acid, right, or the vat of some chemical, and he comes out the Joker. And of course, there's way more deeper nuance to this story if you actually read The Killing Joke. So I recommend that everybody read The Killing Joke because I think it is one of the best Batman comics ever written. And of course, Alan Moore. But that was kind of your origin for the Joker for a while before a lot of things changed. I also have a 9.8 Killing Joke right here that you probably see behind me in a lot of videos. But yeah, there was the Killing Joke, and then we had the three Jokers, which also kind of put a new spin on the potential origin for the Joker and showed that there actually may have been, multiple Jokers out there. And again, all these things though are in such a way that we don't know for sure. They always leave it open to questions when it comes to the origin of the Joker. So I hope he does that again here. I think that as comic book readers, we don't ever want to get a real origin for the Joker. I think it's better for him to remain ambiguous, an enigma. We'll have to see what Matt Fraction does here. I have been reading Batman by Matt Fraction. It's been absolutely great so far. And I wanted to know what your thoughts are on the origin of the Joker. Do you want to have a definitive origin? Would you rather it be more of a mystery? Are you excited for this issue of Batman #7 coming out? Please let me know in the comments down below. Okay, we've got a new Iron Man #1 coming out, written by Joshua Williamson, and the art will be done by Carmen Carnero. But this is really exciting. Joshua Williamson has written some really, really great runs, especially for DC Comics. We've got the Robin run that he did with the Lazarus Pit. He's done Superman. He did a great Flash run in Rebirth. He also did the Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths event that happened recently or semi-recently. He's had some great stuff over the years, and it's exciting to see him getting an ongoing at Marvel because he hasn't done very much at Marvel. He's done a couple small things, but this is a big title. People really love Iron Man. And I have to say, for how popular Iron Man is now because of the MCU, he wasn't the most popular character in Marvel Comics before the MCU. Like, he wasn't on people's Marvel Comics heroes Mount Rushmore. And I think a lot of people would put him there now. And what I'm saying, the reason I'm saying this is because he doesn't have as many iconic comic stories as some other characters. If you look at how big he is, like, Batman, you can start listing off like all the big Batman stories so easily. And he has had some good stuff over the years. But was never their like poster character for Marvel. And I think putting Joshua Williamson on this book could give us an amazing Iron Man run that we're all really craving. This also has an interesting twist to start off. Now, this is a little spoilery for the first issue, but it's just setting up the premise. So we see the beginnings here where it looks like we're going back to the origin of Iron Man, right? We see an arc reactor and the classic Iron Man armor looks like getting built. And then we have this, kind of funny panel with him cursing here. And it looks like the Mark 1 armor. And he's breaking out, but you notice something a little bit different here. These look like the guys from AIM, I believe this is, right? Not who originally had taken Iron Man. And then we get this character kind of being like, and this is Madame Mask or Masque. I don't know how to say this character's name. Set up by Al Ewing. She comes in and takes him out because what's going on here is she basically makes the distinction. They're not looking for a new Iron Man. They're looking for a new Tony Stark. So they're testing people by putting them in the same situation that Tony Stark was in, with the necessity to build weapons basically to survive. And if someone can, pass that test, that's an indication that they may be the next Tony Stark. And that's what they're looking for to use for their own, nefarious purposes, of course. Interesting stuff. I'm excited for this issue. I'm excited for a new start for Iron Man, for potentially, a really great run. Marvel needs to score some points with fans right now. And I think bringing Joshua Williamson in on this run could be a way to do that. So this book actually came out last week, and I did have my comic book store grab one for me. So they're holding it for me now. But yeah, what do you think about this new direction for Iron Man? Are you excited that they brought Joshua Williamson on board to do this Iron Man run? Are you a fan of his? Do you think he's going to do a good job with the character? Did you buy this comic, or are you going to be going to pick it up soon? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, let's take a look at the 10 best DCKO fights so far ranked. Let's see if we agree with these rankings, by the way, too. DCKO is several months deep into one of the most epic tournaments in superhero history. Heroes from across DC Comics have all been summoned into a knockdown, drag-out battle to decide who will be the last one standing to claim the heart of Apocalypse. To DC's credit, they've also gone all out on this event, expanding it enough for fans to have fun with it. So let's take a look at some of these matchups. We have at number 10, Wonder Woman and Big Barda versus Cyborg and Connor Hawke. Okay, so I remember reading this one. I love the character of Big Barda. I have a Big Barda Funko Pop, and I just think she's like cool, and she's like a really strong like warrior. And she has the Mega Rod, which is a really cool weapon, right? That can do like energy blasts, and it can make boom tubes, which is a really powerful thing to have. Because remember, Big Barda comes from Apocalypse and with Mr. Miracle and all that stuff. So she's no stranger to this kind of Omega energy and stuff. And this one ultimately ends with Wonder Woman using her bracers that Big Barda strikes to make a blast that knocks out Cyborg and Connor Hawke. So come on, we know they were going to win that one. I mean, that's easy matchup. Number 10. Okay, number 9, Cyborg versus Swamp Thing. This one I was a little surprised by because I think Cyborg wins here. And I think he won a little too easily, if I'm being honest, because Swamp Thing is really powerful. I think they've like downgraded him a little bit. I think this isn't the Alec Holland Swamp Thing anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And I think he's not as powerful as Swamp Thing once used to be portrayed in the comics. So this is some cool art here. I like how Cyborg looks, but yeah, Cyborg takes this one. Wasn't my favorite of these fights. Number 8, Lex Luthor versus the Justice League shows Lex is dangerous when underestimated. Yes, this is true. This is what happens when Lex gets the Black Lantern ring. And as you can see, he's kind of raising this army of giants in the background behind him, which is crazy. And with those gods, that he's reviving, he was able to take out most of the Justice League. Lex Luthor left unchecked is scary. All right, moving on to the next one. Number 7, we have Jay Garrick versus Guy Gardner. Everybody knows, if you watch this channel, Guy Gardner annoys the crap out of me, so I would love to see him get his butt kicked in this matchup, but he does win this one. He taps into the spirit of the warrior from his origin or whatever, and he wins. It's kind of a weird thing with Guy Gardner. I don't even want to get into it, but yeah, Guy takes this one, unfortunately. Number 6, Aquaman versus Hawkman. This is like a low-powered matchup, in my opinion. Now, Aquaman is way more powerful than a lot of people give credit. I mean, he can survive the depths of the ocean. He's very durable. He has super strength. His skin is really, really hard and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, he's powerful, but on the scales of power, these two are kind of lower. This wasn't the most interesting matchup to me. And then this one's interesting. We had Omega Bam Man and Green Lantern versus Bromega and Knockout. And this is like a wrestling match, essentially. So that one was kind of interesting. I'm going to go through these kind of quick because I want to make sure I can fit them all in this portion of the video. We have Guy Gardner and Hal Jordan versus Superman and Captain Marvel. This was cool. I believe this is where Superman asks Shazam to give him the power of Shazam. So he basically becomes a combination of Superman and Shazam, which is really cool. I highly recommend you check that out in the comics. And it takes away one of Superman's biggest weaknesses, which is magic. Now, he doesn't really have to worry about that here with the Green Lanterns, but I hope they revisit that later on, because that's a really cool combination of powers. Then we have at number 3, Batman versus Dick Grayson. Come on, a fight we've all wanted to see. This night fight thing has been pretty cool. And, it's interesting to see the OGs go up against each other, to see the outcome there. This was really epic. We had Superman versus Captain Atom. This pushed Superman to his absolute limits. And basically made Superman have to go up against Captain Atom, who became essentially a god by being able to access previous forms of himself from the past. Very, very cool. And then number 1, we had Superman versus Lex Luthor, because Superman basically gets the Omega energy or whatever through the Omega sanction. So we get to see Superman with his, dark side lasers that can, make right angle turns and stuff. And just super powerful going up against Lex Luthor. This is a really, really cool moment in the comics. As you can see here, he's saying, I'm Superman and Superman is, which is like dark side is. But this is an epic moment. And I think this does deserve to be listed as number 1, on the top 10 matchups from DCKO so far. Now we've got some new stuff coming up with the boss battle, which has some crossovers with different characters from outside the DC universe that are going to be really cool, and the absolute characters. So I'm excited to see where this DCKO event goes. What do you think about this ranking? Are you excited about, seeing the future of DCKO, where it's going to go? Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. All right, the last story we're going to talk about today is the legendary Marvel Comics artist Sal Buscema passes away at age 89. So this is a really sad thing. Sal Buscema was an amazing artist and contributor to the history of comic books. He's one of my favorite artists, and his big brother John Buscema, he took after him and got into the comic book industry following in his footsteps. And John Buscema was, of course, also a super important artist in the history of comic books as a whole, especially Marvel Comics. So it's just really sad to see him go, and I want to just talk about some of the things that are my favorite, comics from Sal Buscema, and give you a little bit of a history of who Sal Buscema was. Marvel posted this article talking about Sal Buscema. Earlier this month, legendary comic book artist Sal Buscema passed away at the age of 89. Buscema's illustrious career spanned more than 4 decades, penciling and inking the Marvel Universe's most iconic heroes and villains. Joining his brother John Buscema, the pair formed an integral family legacy at Marvel Comics. Buscema was born on January 26, 1936, in Brooklyn, New York, citing his older brother John's artistic pursuits as a major influence on his life and career. In the early 1950s, Buscema began his career at Dell Comics, providing inking and background art for titles where John served as the primary illustrator. After serving in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Buscema joined the Creative Arts Studio in Washington, D.C., where he provided illustrations for various federal government agencies. Now we have some of his art right here, but the article does go on to say, upon his return to New York City, Buscema began working at Marvel Comics as a penciler and inker. He would then go on to work on the Avengers and also Captain America and, many other really important titles over the years. His art is iconic. Everybody's seen it. These issues are amazing, and the history of comics would never be the same. Wouldn't have been the same without Sal Buscema. I've got a comic book right here. This is a really cool cover featuring Ultron, done by Sal Buscema. I actually have a lot of books in my collection where Sal Buscema is the artist. I just grabbed one off my wall of comics over there to show. But yeah, what more can I say about this creator? I think that I'm super happy to have his work in my collection that I can look at every day when I'm here in my office. And, it's a sad thing when you lose anyone, right? But especially someone who was such an influential person when it comes to something you really love, which for me is comic books. So sad to see him go. But thank you, Sal, for your years of amazing work and for bringing a little bit of, happiness to our hearts. Let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comments. Were you a fan of Sal Buscema's art? Do you have any of Sal Buscema's comics in your collection? Let me know about your favorite books in your collection where he did the art, and what this amazing creator meant to you. Let me know all that in the comments down below. Okay, let's take a look at the new comics coming out. This Wednesday, February 4th, 2026, we've got Absolute Superman. We've got Batman #6, the Matt Fraction run, which has been great so far. Absolute Green Lantern. Absolute title's just going strong. We've got Night Fight here, which this is, we must be nearing the conclusion here. Ultimate Wolverine. Amazing Spider-Man. We've got Ultimate Endgame. This is, the closing of the current iteration of the Ultimate Universe. Shadows of Tomorrow, Uncanny X-Men, DCKO Boss Battle. Now this is big coming out this week. Make sure your comic book store reserves one of these for you. It's a crossover with all these different characters with Mortal Kombat and Red Sonja and all this stuff. And I think it's going to have the Absolute characters in it. So this is going to be totally chaotic and amazing, and make sure you pick that one up. We've got Batgirl. Poison Ivy still going strong at issue 41. I love to see that. Working on reading that series myself. The Avengers #35. I believe this is the final. Is this the final issue of this overall run of Avengers? And we have a new creative team coming on. I think so. Spawn. Spawn always has amazing art. I always say that. It's always a solid pickup. JSA still going. Department of Truth, James Tynion. I started reading this. I have the collected edition. It's really good. So it's great to see this still going strong. Magic and Colossus, love those characters both. I definitely want to pick that one up. Batman Static Beyond, that's a really cool, combination of characters. I didn't really know about that one. Nova Centurion #4, very cool. I love the character of Nova, so I'm interested to see where this comic goes. Haven't started reading it yet. Storm #1, one of my favorite X-Men. So just for this really cool cover, I might pick this up. She's got a lightning sword in both her hands. This looks awesome. So yeah, that's definitely on my radar as something that I'm looking to pick up. Logan, Black, White, and Blood. Okay, they've kind of done too many of these now. The first Black, White, and Blood thing that they did was so good, I thought, and it sold really well. And now they're just like shoving it down our throats. We don't need any more of it, please. And then we've got some other stuff. I think I hit on most of the really big stuff coming out this week. Let's take a look at the omnibuses coming out this week. We've got Superman New Kryptonian Saga Omnibus Volume 1. We've got the Century Omnibus. Then we've got Red Rising, Son of Ares Omnibus. So this is a prequel, I believe, to the Red Rising novels, which my wife read and she really loved. So that is interesting, and maybe I'll read these and then I'll go read the novels. I do read a lot of novels as well as comics. I spend a lot of time reading. I'm not really interested in these Marvel fanfare omnis. And then we have Itchy the Killer. I'm not sure what that is, but yeah, the things that are really interesting to me that stand out here are the Sentry, Superman, and Red Rising omnibuses. Let me know if you're going to be buying any of these omnibuses or what your thoughts are, and let me know what your thoughts are on the comics that are coming out this week. What are you going to be picking up? What are you excited for? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, that's it for this week's comic book news. Let me know if there's anything major that I missed in this video. Let me know what your thoughts are on the different topics and stories that we covered in the video. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.